Hey, 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 you know who it be. It be Camille. So grateful to have you here. You are here. Where are you calling from? Where are you tuning in from? Calling from. Oh, Camille. We're live, so just love me. Super excited about today. It is Wellness Wednesday, and you know what that means. Dear Camille, let's talk about it. We are going to talk to you today about menopause. Menopause. Yay, yay, yay. menopause. Menopause. Now, why are we going to talk about menopause and what does that have to do with wellness? Well, for us women, a lot. Because we go through menopause actually through so many, it starts in so many parts of our life and actually stays even after. But how does that affect us overall? Dear Camille, let's talk about it. Well, as you know, my name is Camille Jones, and I am the founder of We Got This Mind and Body, where I'm all about encouraging your busy woman to learn to live a healthier lifestyle through prioritizing the key areas of wellness, such as your mindset, movement, metabolism, and maintenance. It's all about love and the skin that you are in without excessive workouts or fad diets. And it's through online programming that is customizable to your lifestyle. But with that, we need to understand what wellness as a whole means. Because yes, we can work on the aesthetics, the outside, of course. But so many times we are in that yo-yo of a lifestyle because we are only working on the aesthetics, the outside. And it's usually because of a season. Can I get a one who's guilty? I could put one, and multiple ones because I am definitely guilty of that throughout my life. Yes, I am a young, almost 42-year-old. I'm super proud of it. Like I used to be like, oh my gosh, I'm getting, no, I'm loving it. I'm loving every stage and every age that I'm evolving into, especially as I'm getting into those latter parts of my life, because so much of the things that used to stress me out or, that I put my energy into, I'm greatly realizing as I've gotten older, just let it go and get to know me more. I spent so many years taking care of other people all the time. All the time. I'm always looking out for somebody else. And which is great. That's what we do. That's what a lot of us women do, as well as building up that career or that lifestyle that we want to get that builds up our own independence, our own identity. Because how many of us, again, let's put a number two. Who can relate with me with this? Let's be real. We kind of lose a little bit of our identity if we become parents, or not even just parents, when we have gotten that career that we desired. We're still striving and thriving in that career, that sometimes we lose the essence of who we are. And as well as being that mother, we're putting so much time and effort into other people that we are losing ourselves too. And what does that have to do with our menopause? Well, a lot. Because when we lose ourselves doing everything else, we become less aware of our body indicators, our body triggers, the things that are, affecting us internally. And then what happens? What happens? Put it in the chat. If you're in the replay, still put it in the chat. I want to know what happens. Okay? Because I'm not going to read it out. I'm going to let you just work it out, because I'm telling you guys, what happens is we start to blame ourselves. We start to blame, it's COVID weight, or it's something, everything and anything else in between. Unbeknownst to us, we have so much going on internally that even if we were to change our diet or to change our start working out every single day, we're still not going to be able to achieve that overall result that we desire, because we don't understand what's going on internally. So let's get right into it, because a lot of it, again, has to do with our hormones, menopause, stress, and so much else. But let's get into the details of what exactly menopause is, because again, so many of us don't even realize what menopause is, except for, it's something that happens when we get older. Like, one of the biggest myths is menopause starts in your 50s. And that if you went through menopause, that's why we're gaining all this weight, right? How many of us think that? I'm going to be honest with you. I have thought that. I used to think that, when I'm getting into that menopause, it's inevitable. I'm going to get the tire. So, que sera, sera. That's a myth. There's also that myth of everyone gets the hot flashes and night sweats. And oh my gosh, sorry fellas, but apparently when we go through menopause, it's been said that we lose our libido. What about that walking past the mirror? It's like, oh my gosh, it's just not that good. I don't look that attractive anymore. These are all myths that we have been told even throughout our before, prior to menopause, that we carry on to. So when we are going through that menopause, without having that self-awareness of our own body, we start to believe the myths that are told about this stage of our life. And I'll tell you something, it doesn't have to be that way. It does not have to be that way. Yes, we are going to go through menopause. It's inevitable. That's what we do. Us women, we are one big hormonal pot. When we're younger, we go through puberty, we get our periods, we make babies. On our latter parts of our life, we go through menopause, which is just a whole mixed conjobbleness of our hormones, right? And let's talk about it, because there's different stages of menopause. And a lot of us look at just the actual menopause time when you're going through it and are unaware of the symptoms and the things to indicate, or even to work on prior to getting into menopause, or while you're going through menopause, and even post-menopause. Because us women, we need to realize that even after we finish menopause, we are still hormonal beings. We're spirits, yes, but our physical is hormonal. And we still have to put in the work of understanding our hormones and aligning it with our nutrition, with our stress levels, and with our movements, even after menopause, so that we can maintain and sustain all of the things that we desire, both physically and internally. So let's talk about it. Premenopause. Premenopause, that's that stage where you could go through the menopause. Actually, it could start as early as 30 years old. And 30 to 40 years old is that premenopause. That's why even back in the day, that used to be one of the high risk times of pregnancy, because of the changes of our hormones. That's what made it that high risk at that time. Then there's one called the perimenopause, and that starts in like your mid 30s and 50s. But you could even head it again in your 40s. It's when you're officially coming into that premenopause, and when most of the symptoms start to appear and progressively get worse if not treated. And a lot of people won't even realize that they have this premenopause, because they're thinking about, oh, it's just hot. How I'm feeling is just, maybe because I'm not sleeping well. Well, maybe you're not sleeping well because you're in premenopause and your hormones are not aligned. We'll contribute a lot of our feelings or our internal to something else than actual that perimenopause. I call it perimenopause. My apologies. Love me, people. Love me. Just love me. So, to know me says, no, I keep it real. And in between my talks, I'm going to be a little bit of Camille. So, as I was saying, the next step of that is our actual menopause, when we go through it. Now, ladies and gents, I always get so confused when I'm looking at the camera where I'm looking, but I hope I'm looking straight, right? You see me? I see you. Anyways, so that menopause is usually, it could go on for 12 months or even more. Like my aunt, I think she went through it for like 4 years, but hers was all over the place because she didn't listen to me. But hey, I love you. I'm not going to call your name because I love you. But, it could really be detrimental to your whole livelihood, just because going through some of these symptoms, when I say livelihood, I mean your, just your lifestyle. When you could be having the greatest time of your life one day, and then the next day it feels like as if your entire body's burning. You're in the middle of the winter. You're bloated. Your joints hurting. There's so many different areas, and it can last for one day up to 12 months to how many years. And the postmenopause, that's the last part, and that's something that we're going to carry right until we meet our creator. It's something that we do have. It's all of the time afterwards, and we still do have these type of symptoms, but they do lessen. And we need to be aware of this in our wellness, because a lot of these symptoms do have a huge factor on our stress level, on our muscle, breakdown, as well as even our own overall mindset and feelings, right? Because our hormones, again, are going through a latter stages of our life. So let's talk about these hormones. I know we always hear about it, especially the two popular ones, the estrogen, and then I always say it wrong, so love me, people, testosterone, because we all have it. Believe it or not, testosterone is not just in men. We also need it in our hormones, especially during menopause, because we actually, believe it or not, we actually produce more testosterone than we do estrogen. And the testosterone is not just for the libido, but it's also helps build up that muscle. It helps us with our metabolism and the need to get up and go. Think about the men, Hulk smash, but we don't have that smash because we have, we're women, hear us roar. We have that balance. I love you, men, love me too. But I'm just saying straight up, because we have other hormones in us, we are better at balancing out a lot of our behaviors. Whereas where men would be Hulk smash, because with high testosterone, you do get more of that muscle. You do get more of that, which is great. We need it. It really does help out, especially in us women when we are going through menopause, because it helps balance out our estrogen. Now, estrogen, we hear about it all the time. That's what we hear as our main hormone as women. But the magic and the thing when it comes to estrogen is that there's a lot of conflicting information on it, and we need to really better understand our bodies, get even our estrogen levels checked when we are getting our checkups, because it helps manage our metabolism, but it also helps store fat in the right areas, which us women we need, especially in our breast and our glutes, in our organ area. These our shape, there's a reason why us women are shaped differently than men. We have those hourglass shapes. We have more muffin in the stomachs, the breast, it's just for our body and the structure of it, the fat storage of estrogen. It does help out with storing, for protection of our joints, our organs, and so much more. And it's, it also makes us feel great. It's a life of the party when our estrogen is high. Especially think about if you are still having your monthly. Think about your whole stages of your monthly. I always say to people, I am 4 different people in 1 month, because depending on where I fall in my cycle will determine what kind of Camille you get, straight up. And it's because our hormones are different in every stage of our period. So for instance, think about it. When you first finish your cycle, the first half of your cycle, which is when you're done it, right? You probably have the highest libido. You're happy. You want to be the most active. Everybody's in love with you. You love it. And then, as you're going through your times of ovulation, all of a sudden, you're even more aroused. The attraction from the opposite sex becomes greater. There's just something with it's all hormonal. And then when we're getting closer to our period, that's when we become more sluggish. The frustration happens. That's because our estrogen is lowering down as we progress through our lunar cycle. So we need to better understand our own menstruation too, while we have the period, to better understand it while we're going through our menopause. And when it comes to the estrogen, it also sensitizes your insulin and blocks out negative effects of the cortisol. Remember, cortisol is that stress hormone. And when we, especially as women, have all that cortisol in our system, it goes all in our gut, that tire. And when we have cortisol in our system, it does not allow us to properly digest, or it really does hold on to more sugars. And that's why we get all that inflammation, is when we have high stress too as well. Again, in us women, it really does happen in our gut. So it does help us instead use insulin to increase more energy and manage stress. And that's why, again, look at our lunar cycle at the beginning of your period. Come on, people, who's with me? If you're still here with me, drop a heart. Let's go. Yes. So when it comes to what I was saying is, when our monthly cycle, really pay attention to it. Again, at the beginning of your menstruation, after your menstruation, you have the most energy. You're going hard. Yeah. But during the latter parts of just before your period, or even while you're on your period, those are the times where don't feel guilty if you have to just scale it. No, you should scale it back, because your body is going through a whole restoration inside. A lot of people don't realize that when we have our monthlies, our periods, our menopause, our bodies are at work vigorously. So we got to give it some grace. It doesn't just because we can't see it. And that's the problem with us humans. If we can't see something, we just, it's fine. Especially when it comes to why a lot of our significant others cannot understand why we act certain ways depending on when our monthlies come in. They'll never get it. They'll never get it because they'll never have that feeling that we do get. But it's okay. It's about you better understanding you first. It's not about them understanding you. They can, if they don't want to understand you, they can kick rocks. That's how I see it. Meh, eh, eh. So also, you have to remember with estrogen, it's very important for our brain, our heart, our bones, our muscles. It's just everything. We have estrogen receptors all over our body. So there's not one single function in our body that is not affected by menopause. Us women, as I said, we are one big hormonal pot. Our entire body from head to toe, even our hair growth, our nail growth, that's all hormonal. Acne, hormonal. So now there's another part. I'm on this is live, people, and my son just came and talked to me. Honey, I love you. Good. Go inside. I'll be back there soon. No. Okay, sure. Thank you, dear. I'm the best mom in the whole wide world. You want to know why I'm the best mom in the whole wide world? Because he's asking me something when I'm doing a live. Right, Camille? It's real life, people, but we're here. So as I was saying, there's another hormone that we really need to pay attention to that we don't hear a lot of until later parts of our life, and that is progesterone. Progesterone is what we need during our menopause because it helps regulate and balance the estrogen and it plays it safe. It also helps elevate our moods during the second half of our cycle. Again, we don't know about this progesterone and we need to get a relationship with it because progesterone also helps manage the stress levels even more. And it's like it helps like slowing down your food and storing food. It's the best way for us to really have a sedative effect and a relaxation of our body as our hormones are playing its game, right? So we need to ensure we can actually, when we're going through menopause, there's progesterone pills that we can take if we are lacking in that area. That's why it's very important for us to actually go and get our hormones checked, right? Get them scaled out, because a lot of the times when you feel like you're not losing that weight or, certain things are not happening for you physically, is because there could be an imbalance internally. So that's why I always say, get yourself checked. It's so important for when you start a wellness plan, before you start one, is to go to the doctor to ensure that everything aligns with the things that you need for your body and your lifestyle. And again, it's all about this cortisol. We hear it all the time. And we need to have it. It's not that bad. The problem is with this lifestyle that we live, our cortisol levels are going off the Richter scale. Cortisol causes higher blood sugar. It's elevated with high blood sugar, diabetes. It also does stop our digestion. But the reason why we do need it is because we still need to have that natural alarm in us, that fight or flight in us. We need to still be able to know when to be aware, self-awareness, especially in the sight of danger, or just somewhat cautious. But the thing is, with this life, in this lifestyle a lot of us are living, we have too much of this cortisol. And if you have too much cortisol in you, again, the sugars are released into the blood, which it naturally is, but too much of it, and again, it will elevate your blood sugar. And that's why I also say, even when we're working out, try not to work out no more than 45 minutes at a time, because you have to remember something. Anytime you do work out, you're putting stress on your body. And when you put stress on your body has to restore itself and replenish that stress. And if you overstress your body, that's when your body's not going to reduce its weight. That's when your body's going to understand, like, oh, it's stressed. So you know what? We cannot counter any of this workout that you did. So I always say, if you work out for more than 45 minutes, you're actually throwing away that entire workout. It's pointless. You got to understand that working out puts stress on your body. We only want to have a certain level of stress so we can restore it and build up that lean muscle. Over an excessive stress, that's why there's so many people that will go on that treadmill, workout, and nothing's happening. They're over for hours at a time. They're overstressing their body. What do they expect? And you know what? Again, cortisol equals tired if you have too much, right? And of course, the last one we know about is that insulin. Insulin helps reduce our blood sugar level, and it's also, we know, it's released from our pancreas and moves the sugar out of the blood and delivers it to cells. And this is how it's converted into glucose and what we need to give us energy, right? So sugar is good and bad. shouldn't say good and bad, same sentence, right? But having too much sugar in our blood, what it happens is the insulin doesn't know what to do with it. And when we have too much sugar in it, the insulin is it's going to end up in our liver. It's going to end up everywhere and anywhere in our fats, everywhere and anywhere else that it should not be in. And that's why if you have too much sugar, you could be at high risk of diabetes because of all the excess stored fat in you. And it's not being able to be broken down, right? So we have to understand something. Cortisol and insulin, they are the BFFs. They work together and collectively in building up that energy as well as being able to distribute the sugars in our body respectively. But if you have too much cortisol, that's stress, it stops the digestion. If your insulin is all over the place, you could become insulin resistant, thus diabetic, right? And we don't want that. We don't want that. So why are we seeing all this when it comes to menopause? Because it all goes hand in hand. The one, and what we mean by that is we need to understand that as we're getting older, there's another hormone in us called the HGH, which is your hormone, your human growth hormone. And this is what we get. This is the best one. This is like the, what do you call it? The fountain of youth. It's all about that need for that youthful appearance, the need for energy, muscle, mobility. It's absolutely beautiful. But we need to understand it and see what our levels are as well. So when it comes to that, what are the differences? How do they benefit us when it comes to our with the hormones? Well, progesterone, as I said, it helps regulate stress and manage the stress during times of difficult, especially like, when you're, let's say, for instance, working with the kids, you have COVID, it's all about managing your stress, but you have to pay attention to it. Because if you don't manage your stress, what happens is your cortisol levels are going to start to go out of whack. And then that's, again, where you get the inflammation, the lack of digestion. You got to be aware, self-awareness, right? It's super important. And it's all about really understanding getting these hormones. And it's very good for us to, when we see a lot of the progesterone appearing in perimenopause. And it's a common time when us women feel chronically stressed and stretched and don't bounce back like before. Like I always say to people, ever since I went past that 40 mark, I swear back in the day, I could do 1-2 crunches and I had a 6-pack. Now it's like, oh my goodness, what is going on here? What am I getting all this stuff? Right. So these are all the different reasons of why we are not able to lose that weight as much. And as well as that perimenopause part is that's what it is, right? Now, when it comes to the estrogen, again, it goes up and down during our perimenopause. It's like a yo-yo. And that's why we feel all these like, hey, I can lose weight today. Oh, why am I doing the same thing I did yesterday, but not being able to lose it? What's going on? And it's what we see as the estrogen dominance at this time is really, 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 really dominant. And again, when you have lowering your estrogen makes you more insulin resistant. So you want to make sure that you're managing your bloods well, your blood sugars well. Okay. Very, very, very important. I know I'm going a little bit past my time that I usually do, but this is such great information, and it's very imperative that you understand it within your wellness program. And when you work with me, we go through your own individual lifestyle and how your hormones are working based on and what we need to do to align them all to be more balanced so that you are able to get the results that you desire, but most importantly, feel the best that you feel internally. Because I'm telling you, we are one big hormonal pot. And if us women cannot better understand our bodies, we're going to be just walking around this world frustrated, high anxiety, feeling like as if we are the failures in our own selves because we're not better understanding that a lot of the crap that's happening, it's internal. Okay. So we need to know as the estrogen does lower, we start to feel and develop that meno belly, they store all the fat and energy and hang it on wherever it wants to store. That's what I call it. It's hanging on to everything. And I'll tell you something, even me being in the wellness, I've noticed as I'm getting older that, things that I was doing so well, like I used to be able to kill a burpee. I still can. And I mean, I get fit like that. Literally, that was just like 2 years ago. Now I could kill a burpee and I get fit like that. And my allergies I didn't even know I had allergies the way I had allergies now. Like our body's constantly changing as we get older. And it really is attributed to our hormones. So we really need to understand what is disturbing our hormones because that affects our sleep. A lot of times people are like, I just have insomnia, I'm fine. No. There could be a reason for that. It's also, we have to remember, when we don't have good sleep, it does affect our other hormones, which is our ghrelin hormones, and that is our hunger hormones. And when the ghrelin and cortisol team up, those increased cravings, that in the morning, what does that equal? Weight gain. So a lot of the times when you're getting these cravings, these need for like sugar or salt, it's usually because there's some form of imbalance happening within your hormones, right? So you got to take note of that. And it's not uncommon for women to be diagnosed with diabetes during perimenopause as well. And so just to take a little note there. And that's something that you can talk with your doctor, because it's very important for us to really understand our insulin levels, our sugar levels, and most importantly, our hormone levels. Because if those hormones, again, are imbalanced, we're at risk for so much. And I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, but did you know that women die of heart failure 10 times more than any cancer combined? So we're always hearing breast cancer for women, breast cancer for women. Did you know the heart is what kills us women 10 times over than cancer? You want to know why? It's because our bodies, from the time us women are born, we are going up and down in our hormones. Our body's going through stress of hormone resistant, this and that and that. So what's happening is it's putting stress onto our heart. And it does what they call heart degeneration. So you'll see a lot of women, it's not heart attacks, it's heart disease that they're dying of. Cardiovascular, I'm saying it wrong, but you know what I'm talking about. So believe it or not, the cancers are not the main killers of women. The breast cancers are not. Actually, that's thank God, thankfully, it's one of the most common cancers and one of the most, not cured, helped cancers. But we have to know our hormones. We need to get our hearts checked, because the heart also, the cardiovascular, the heart disease, oh my gosh, is so high in us women. So please, when we are going through all different stages of our life, and especially into menopause, check out your heart. Very important. So what are things that we can do? Let me just leave you with this, because I'm almost at 30 minutes. I don't like to go this far. I know but I will leave you with a little bit of steps of what we can do. First and foremost, manage your stress. I know you say, Camille, that's easier said than done. Yeah, you want to know why? Because you're in control of yourself. And again, this is something else that I work with a lot of my clients. We talk about the power of the self, the power of understanding that you're in control of everything. And yes, you cannot control what happens around you, but truly, when you have that deeper understanding, you can control how you react to it. Now, am I saying that you're going to react perfect every time? No, because I know I don't. Right? Who feels me there? Who feels me there? Let me see. If you're there, I'll know if you're there just based on this emoji. Let's put a thumbs up emoji. Who knows that? We know that we can, we have power of controlling our own thoughts. But again, life gets in the way. But a great way for us to really regulate our nervous system and that stress level is through movement, is through being active. Because when our body is active, we are so much more focused on the movement, the breathing, the feeling, that the stress that we were focusing on before starts to diminish. So it's really important for us to really try to manage that stress. And the second one I'm going to leave you with too is strength training. So important. We always think that us women, we're going to just be, if we strength train, we're going to turn into Arnold Schwarzenegger, when in actuality, that is completely incorrect. It helps us slow down our muscle loss, builds up our metabolism, and most importantly, protects our joints and our organs so much more. And as I always say, I always tell this to my grandma, because she sat in her bed for about 25 years. Still, I love you, Grammy, but I'm calling you out. I'm calling you out because I say this to you all the time. I said, grandma sat in her bed watching Y&R, Young and the Restless, for 25, 30 years. And now she's she can't pick up a 5-pound weight. So I'm trying to do some weights with her. She can barely pick them up. I said, because grandma, you never picked it up before. She's like, well, I know. Sorry, she's very Trinidadian, so I turned Trini. But I'm sidetracking here. So it's very important for us to really build up that muscle and build up strength training, even more so when we're going through menopause. And please, no more than 30 minutes of strength training, period. That's even too much. There's other exercises that we can do, such as walking. You can do a little hopping, skipping. There's HIIT, that's high intensity, high training. brain fart right now. And we can do that. And that one, please, no more than 15 to 20 minutes. And please, I always say when we're building up these plans, speak to someone like myself. So you know what? I can go on. There's so many more ways that we could counter these hormones. But you want to know more? It's time to connect with me. I've already spent about 30 minutes of your time here, and I really respect everybody's time. And I'm looking forward to connecting with you because I tell you, there's other ways that we can help with our menopause and our hormones, which is that balance in the work, sleeping, prioritizing protein. I will get into details, but that requires you to connect with me today. So you can just click the link and book your call, and I'll be sure to get you some more information on these hormones. If you're a part of my program, you will see this video loaded up onto your app too as well, because I like to continuously bring these to you all, even though we are still working individually with each other and building up these hormones. It's just, I always say, knowing is half the battle and knowledge is power. So we never stop learning. And if I could give you opportunities to learn and I can share it with you all, I'm gonna do it. Alrighty, so I will let you go here because my son is staring at me, about to ask me about something else that he can get while I'm talking. These kids, gotta love them. And let you know that you have the power to achieve all that you desire, but it requires you to be self-aware, take action, stay consistent, and remember, you got this, we got this. Now let's go. Have yourself a wonderful, wonderful day.